You got to the point that you want to remodel your bathroom, but once you put all your soft flooring out, the floors were rotted. Well, I mean, that was the case that we had over here. The floors were rotted, they were extremely weak, and it was not a structural support for the new bathrooms that we were building. So in this case, I want to guide you through the steps that we have to take to make sure that the bathroom or the particular area of the house that has the rotted floor will be strong enough to support your new soft flooring and whatever you put on top. Now you see over here that right there where the block pipe is where the bathroom was going before, and they just added a little bit of 2x6s from underneath and things like that. So a lot of the work was done from the bottom. So you can see that a lot of things were just installed there too far apart, like 24 inches apart, and they were chopped up in different areas. So it's really hard for anybody to try to understand how to install your new plywood and new things over here in this bathroom. And that is why you want to make sure that whenever you are building something, you count with the support of your main structures. The structure that is here is the one that is going to help us. And obviously downstairs, you want to make sure that it has enough strength. So otherwise, if you're working with a crawl space, you want to make sure that you have enough support from underneath. And if you're working on a second floor or basement, you want to make sure that you have enough strength on those studs that are there, the wall that is there. So that's what we're gonna do. We want to make sure that we take all those like 1x6s and pieces of 2x4s lay there, just to make sure that everything is done in the proper way. And obviously you need to remember that we have wires, we have pipes, we have other elements around that you need to make sure that you support well, and you made the cutouts, and you organize them. So there are different elements. You want to again make sure. Now we have like 14 feet from that corner all the way over here. That means that we need to use the biggest beam that we can find, because all this over here, this partition was removed without considering the load bearing properties of that, and that is actually holding the attic structure. So you can imagine if you keep taking pieces of studs out, or these 4x4s, you will end up with a collapsed ceiling and roof, and you don't want that in your structure, obviously. So you want to make sure that you have a lot of support. We're going to go all the way across. We're going to start by putting one beam right against the soft floor that is there, and then try to get as close as possible to 16 inches in the center. So we have over here right now these 2x12s by 16. That's pretty much the biggest one that you can buy over there at the lumber supply, and that's what we're going to use. Of course, we're going to rip it a little bit because we need to get it to a size that will fit over here. And based on what I found over here, if you don't put a lot of support, these things are going to start collapsing, and you can see the warp on the board over there. And of course, I mean, if everybody took all these beams out, the studs out, you're going to end up having that problem. So again, we have to work with something like this because we have about 10 and a half to 1/8 inches. And the thing is that, you can work with a regular table saw. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a ruler of this guide on the circular saw, and we're going to take out 1 1/8 inches in this case, because that's what is going to give us the full length. Instead of putting a lot of little small pieces, we're going to actually use an entire wood member that is going to go all across. We're going to notch a little bit on that corner so it sits really well, and we're going to triple this beams. So we're going to repeat the same situation 3 times. We're going to triple them, and we want to make sure that it sits there really well. So now you need to consider that you have to work with the level. The floor, the new soft flooring is actually level, so we want to make sure that whenever it sits there, it's going to sit correctly, and it's going to give us the strength that we need. We're going to use some good 3 1/4 nails to put them together with this pneumatic gun that I have. But you can use a screw gun with 3-inch screws or 3.5-inch screws, depending on what you want to use. But every time that you work, you want to make sure that you support this really well. Imagine if you fall through that plywood, or the drywall that is there. You can actually go through. You gotta be careful when you're walking on these beams, because I've seen a lot of people that just go through all these boards. So again, let's start with this one. We want to make sure that this first triple beam is going to be fastened really well. You see these 2x4 that were laid on the floor there, like dormant. We're gonna nail through all those so we keep the support on that section. And they left like almost 30 inches apart, this beam, so it's an amazing situation. So we want to make sure that we install the first one really well, and we prepare for the other ones little by little. So install the first ones. The first was attached to the 2x4s that were there, and the second one is being attached to the first one. Now you can notice that we have these little notches for the electrical wires. What we are doing is we are puncturing a little bit with an old nail right next to them, so we can go from underneath, make a little cutout, and put a plate so nobody will screw into the wires in this case, because the piping was removed. It was all over, so we removed the stuff, and we continue using this 3 and 3 1/4 nails in this case, structural nails. Obviously, if you're going to use a gun like this, be careful. Use some goggles. Make sure that you glasses. Make sure that you cover your face, because those little plastic particles in this case will actually bounce a little bit, and you don't want them in your eyes. And you want to make sure that everything is correct. So as you press, now we're putting the third beam over here. As you press this thing, make sure that they are all together. If you want to use some liquid nail of construction adhesive, that's fine. Now, when you measure for this, you want to make sure that you measure, obviously, the excess of the 3/4 plywood that is there, or subfloor that is there, underlayment, because that's what you want to do. You want to count for all the elements that are going to be on top of that. So if you have your hardwood floor plus your plywood on the floor, subfloor, and all those things, you want to add all those things, so whenever you install your boards, they go really well. Now notice that we're going all the way through into the other room. So we removed one of the boards over there, and we found that it was not that much support. Everything was cut and pretty much rotted. Okay, so far we have 6 boards already installed, 6 beams, and we have to continue with the 7th one. But now you have to be careful about 2 things. The first one is that you want to reinforce your upper floor, make sure that it's level. And if you have a basement, you want to make sure that you go with the level of the basement. And this basement is really irregular, but we want to make sure that we don't damage the finished drywall that is on the other side. So on one side we have like 9 inches, and the other one we have like 8 inches, and we have some notches that we need to do. And what we want to do is we want to sit this right on top of this is a wall, a bearing wall downstairs, and this is a main beam that it was not cut. Fortunately, it was not cut, and it's going all the way through the foundation. So there's gonna, we're gonna have a notch over here that's gonna go and sit over here, sit on this side, and it's gonna sit all the way on the other side of the area where we have the foundation wall on the other side. So that's the tricky part, but you want to make sure that you install this correctly, because you want to make sure that this is level, and downstairs you can actually put the screws. If you don't have the situation, then you can actually reinforce it from underneath, put some cross boards and different piers, and it will hold it up really, really well. So let's continue. Every beam has to sit in a different place, so that's why the cutouts are a little different on each of it. And that's because this house is really irregular, but you want to use oxidating saw, circular saw, saws, whatever you can use to cut properly, and leave that beam sitting level in the structure, so you have the full potential of the board, and you give a lot of strength to the property. So that's how you gotta deal with this. Now you see, this is the way you normally want to fix your structure. You want to support the structure right on the main beams, everything that is holding your bathroom. In this case, this bathroom didn't have enough support, and now we have enough support, triple beams, double beams, all these reinforced 2x12s that some of them were modified depending on the height, but we went the entire length, so we gave extra support to the areas of the house that were rotted. I've been called to remodel the bathrooms, and that's my job. But being a responsible contractor means that you want to make sure that the rest of the areas that are around you are also supported, or at least that you tell the owners of the house, because it's important for you to lay some new underlayments or plywood or structural material on top of something that is solid. And you want stuff that is going to carry loads and it's not going to go anywhere. Like if you have a wall where you want to sit your triple beams, in this case, make sure that under you have also triple 2x4s, you triple everything that is around. If you're doubling something over here, make sure that the force is transferred all the way down. So that is an important thing for you to know. And that's why I like to teach all these things, because no matter how beautiful the thing is, if you don't do the structural work well, everything is gonna go to the garbage, to the dump. So thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna make 2 bathrooms over here, and I encourage you to take a look at the videos that we're gonna make. We're excited, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.